What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Omar. If you're new here, thank you guys for clicking, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. So it's been a very long time. What's good, Josh?
I'm doing good, Omar. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's been a while since we've talked Magic basketball. I wanted to do it as I could have sworn there was gonna trade was gonna happen, but it never did. And I wanted to get this out before the preseason game started, and then really look at the team, how they looked on the court after the 4 preseason games. But we had just had media day and a couple of days of training camp. What's your overview of like reaction of the team of what they've looked like so far? What have you seen?
I think like in addition to media day, just seeing like their social media page post like quotes and small interviews and videos of like the scrimmages practices they've been having, like everyone just has a smile on their face. Like it's a great atmosphere to be a part of. It's great to see because I don't think we've seen that in so long. Like just seeing them on the court, being happy, like putting a smile on their face and playing the game, and just seeing everyone talk about like even like Markel talking about like we're gonna shock a lot of people. People like Cole Anthony Suggs talking about like wanting to make the playoffs. Like I honestly didn't expect to hear that from them, but especially because they're the younger ones on the team. So it's great to see that they really believe in themselves and in this team. And I'm just excited, man. Media Day got me hyped.
Yeah, exactly the same. You had Gary Harris talking about expectations of the playoffs because they could have very have easily I said, we're gonna take it one day at a time. We're gonna grow together and we'll see what happens. But they genuinely confidently said, "Oh, we're gonna shock people. We're gonna fight for this playoff spot."
Yeah.
And Jalen Suggs believes that. He said on the road trip and podcast, which I personally didn't have a problem with, although a lot of other Magic fans did. I listened to the Ozone podcast. They had issues with what Channing and RG said. I really didn't think they were that out of pocket, to be honest. What they said was true, and it bothers me. Don't get me wrong, it bothers me, but that is the truth. But I really hope the 2019 playoffs, although it was just Toronto, but it really showed me when it gets to it, Orlando will be rocking that Amway Center. I have never heard that arena that loud since that day. But that's neither here or there. Yeah, training camp. All of their interviews were great. You see the training camp ringing the bell that they have for hustle plays. The young guys look great. Of what I've heard, Terrence Ross has nothing but good things to say about Franz Wagner on the defensive end of the court. It's just great. And I'm very excited to see Mosley's defensive scheme of being a lot more like aggressive than just laid back how Steve Clifford preferred it. This is going to extremely help this group, in my opinion, especially because they're that young and they're going to start out offensively. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that they're perfect. There's going to be a lot of times with especially with no go-to scorer where they might end up struggling offensively. But with this, I feel like they're going to get a lot of easy like transition points.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, especially because you've heard Mosley in so many interviews talk about playing with the pace, the space, the pass. That's in every interview he talks about. So I'm really expecting to see like a better offensive team, like in terms of spacing and just playing with a sense of purpose out there. Because last year, with all the injuries and everything, every Magic fan knows the story of how last year went for us. From the beginning of the season towards the end, there were no bright spots. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was just darkness from the beginning to the end of the season. But I think this year, like Jamal Mosley, is just bringing that positive energy, the positive vibes to this team that we really want to see all of them just bring their best onto the court. And especially you brought up the bell. Like I think that's a great way to just get them into it. Like it may just be a
Exactly.
practice, but like make the practice worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's this team looks like they're going to put with a lot of effort and put in a lot defensively. And that's why I think, especially in the regular season, you're going to win games defensively. That's how the Knicks got a top 4 seed in the East last year, solely
Mhm.
based on their defense.
Yeah.
Of course, that's going to struggle in the playoffs, as we saw with the Knicks. But the goal is to get back there. And if they do it, it'll be exceeding a lot of people's expectations. And that's when you start taking the next step forward as a franchise. So, speaking of the playoffs, where do you think this team's going to rank in the regular season? Because there have been a lot of out of pocket. a prediction for this Magic team supposedly only ranked 17 wins in a year, being one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst. I don't believe we're that bad, but that may just be me. But where do you think they're going to rank?
So me personally, I haven't looked at the entire schedule, so I don't know if we have like an easy, what you would say, an easy schedule or tough schedule. But I'm just gonna say, in my opinion, I think we're gonna be fighting for a playing spot. I think you should expect to see us around the 11th, 10th spot. We're gonna be in there. We're gonna be fighting. I think, granted, if there's no injuries and we do get Markel and Ji towards early in the season, they're not going to be ready for the season opener. But if they can come back sometime shortly after the season starts, I think we have a real shot. I think people forget that. Yeah, we have so many young people, but many of those young players are so talented. They are so talented. We saw that at the end of last season, and we're gonna see that this season. And I believe they're gonna raise their game. They're gonna develop. I think Moses is gonna put them in a system that focuses on their development, especially adding Suggs. Like we have a bright future, and I think this team wants to shock everybody. What's better than letting the haters know, like, we're not gonna let you like determine our outcome. You may have us ranked 30th to 29th. We set our own goals. You know what I mean? We're not putting a ceiling on this team, but we're not putting a floor either. We're going to be who we want to be. So let them set their own goals. So I expect us to be fighting for the playoffs.
Okay. So you say 11th. So that's week. So most likely going to fall short of the play-in.
11th, 10th. I feel like we're going to be right there.
Okay, so
we'll get into the play-in tournament.
So the top 6, it's Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Atlanta. Then
I think Atlanta's going to fall out.
Atlanta's going to fall.
I don't trust the Hawks.
I don't know.
I don't know. Trae Young's a star. Don't get me wrong, but I think so many things went right for them last season, and I just think this season it's going to be more tough for them.
I don't know. I think Cam Reddish having a fully healthy offseason. They're going to get back DeAndre Hunter. I think they'll be there. I think the team's going to fall off me. Well, there's always New York. They added Kemba, Evan. There's New York. So the group that you're really looking at is Charlotte, Indiana, Cleveland, maybe.
Better than all of them.
You're gonna put Orlando over Charlotte at this moment?
I'm putting Orlando over Charlotte. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, they got LaMelo Ball, they got Gordon Hayward. They looked great last season. I don't know. I think they had a fluke season. Okay, LaMelo Ball's legit. I'm not saying he's fluke. I'm just saying, again, they're one of those teams that everything just went right for them. And I think if our team is fully healthy with the young players we got, we'd be better than the Hornets and the Cavs and the Pacers.
And the Pacers?
Yeah.
I mean,
you know why we lose to the Pacers?
Maybe because Indiana's not even healthy yet. Indiana
Who's injured on the team?
TJ Warren and LeVert, I believe, at this time.
Also, I think TJ Warren was actually a bubble fraud. So I don't know if he's legit.
Oh, I mean, of course, Warren's not going to average 25 a game, but I still think TJ Warren's still a good player. But Indiana, Sabonis, Miles Turner, especially with Rick Carlisle as the head coach now, I think Indiana's going to be formidable. But I could see it. I definitely could see it. I expect Orlando to be good defensively. Mm-hmm. It's going to be just that team that surprised everyone. There's always that team. It was New York last year. Why not us? But I could definitely see it. So the tough thing about this team is, like you said, there's a lot of young guys on this team. Mm-hmm. You have 10 spots to build a rotation. Who gets squeezed out, in your opinion? Fully healthy. Tough. Yeah, let's start here. Fully healthy. Who's your starting 5?
Fully healthy. My starting 5 is Markel, Jalen Suggs, Chuma Okeke, J.I., Mo Bamba.
Okay, so we have this.
I think Bamba beats out Carter Jr.
Let me say this.
Or at least that's my dream. That's my ideal starting 5.
Mo Bamba looks great. I really, really liked his interview throughout the offseason that he's been working on his motor, that he finally realizes that how a full offseason can really help him. I think that was really key indicator that he's actually ready this time around. And I think it's going to be extremely close between Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba for that starting 5 spot. Mm-hmm. But I also think giving the the help that Mo Bamba gives, especially to a starting unit, because I feel like the backup unit probably has more shooting. I think the shooting ability that Mo Bamba provides would help the starters immensely as Markel Fultz gets used to his new shot mechanic in actual game speed. JIC, if his shooting in the bubble was something that helped in the bubble or not. What Chuma, see how his shot develops. So I really do think Mo Bamba ends up being that starting spot, but I may be wrong. So again, it gets very tough with the backup five.
What's your ideal starting five?
Oh, I completely agree. I think it's gonna not. It's not even ideal. I expect it if fully healthy, but at some point it's going to be Suggs, Kel, Chuma, Ji, Mo.
If that's the starting five, I'm gonna be so happy.
But we're not. It's not going to be the starting five at. We'll get to it. We'll get to the season opener. Um. So who's that? Who are the five?
Coming off the bench.
Yeah, but I also want to say this that I think it could be extremely close. I think these starting spots were very tough. I just had a lot of time to think about it. I think Cole could very well end up being the starter next to Kel and Suggs be off the bench. I could very well see Wendell Carter start. I could see Franz start over Chuma. We don't know. This is a brand new head coach, and I think it's very close. And I think they're fighting all out for these spots and see who earns it the most. So
Assuming
that's just how I think it's going to shake out.
assuming everyone's not healthy, then my starting five is probably Cole, Suggs, Chuma. Then it gets tough. Or you could put T. Ross or Gary Harris at the starting small forward, then Chuma, and then Bamba or Wendell. But the power forward gets a little tricky because it depends who you put at small forward.
If we're not healthy, like we're not, if since season opener, Kel and Jaron aren't going to be there.
Sadly.
Um, I think Cole will get the starting spot at point. I think Suggs would come off the bench. I think Gary Harris will start at the two. And then Franz and Chuma at the 3 and 4.
Really? You put Harris over Suggs?
In that situation, yes, because if you have both in your starting five, you don't have Kel. You're solely relying on RJ Hampton, who played majority at 2 last season. I would think Mosley would want more of stability of having not the RJ Hampton can't handle the ball and create, but give him some help with Suggs in the backcourt. Unless Suggs simply just runs training camp, ends up being the starting point over Cole. But I think Cole would end up starting.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But again, it just depends on health.
Yeah, exactly. We deserve a healthy season. But so again, at fully healthy, who ends up being those 5 off the bench?
It's kind of tough just because everyone who's on the team I want to see play. But I guess if somebody's getting cut, it's probably going to be MCW. I think personally, I'd rather have Eto'o Moore have a more bigger role in the Magic than MCW, just because I've seen Eto'o Moore play like back in the day when he was first on the Magic, and he can shoot, like he can do like all these little things, floaters and all that, and I just think he can contribute more. I think MCW is a better veteran, but that's off the court in a locker room. We saw last year, like MCW ain't gonna do much for a team.
Okay, let's be fair. MCW in the role he was in was asked way too much.
You remember the role he played when he first came on the Magic?
Well, yeah, exactly.
In 2019?
That
was the perfect role. He
exactly,
barely played
with,
though.
But with all the injuries, there was nothing. There was no one else other than MCW to run that point. But so you have a backup 5.
Oh, backup 5, then it's
because I'm not gonna let you run that 2-11 man. It's each one.
Backup 5 is okay. I'd say backup center. It's either Wendell or Mo.
Yeah.
I think power forward will be Franz.
Mm-hmm.
I think he beats out Mo. I think small forward is going to be either T. Ross or Gary Harris.
I think it's T.
Shooting guard will probably be whoever it isn't between Gary Harris or Terrence Ross will be shooting at point guard will be RJ Hampton. Just because you need to make room for Gary Harris and T. Ross, right? You
Interesting.
need at least veterans on the floor, especially because they can do stuff. They're not like veterans where they aren't going to do much. Like they're veterans who can still shoot the ball, put the ball in the basket. So they still got like plenty left in the tank. So you're
So
not going to play them limited minutes.
hold on. So with this being said, Cole Anthony's out of the is out of
Oh
the
wait. No. This is if Cole Anthony is in the starting lineup.
okay.
If Markel is in the starting lineup and assuming the team's healthy, then Gary Harris is out.
Okay.
And that's tough to say, but I don't see a big role for him on the team if the team is healthy. And then I'm not putting him over Cole Anthony and T. Ross. So then I guess, or RJ Hampton. So he's the odd man out for me.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of like Phillips say RJ Hampton. I could definitely see RJ being squeezed out slightly out of the rotation. And it's very tough. But since this is considered to be a development year from the front office, because that's how Waltman put it, it's development this year. I would say RJ Hampton would take the last spot. I wouldn't say last spot, but take the spot over a guy like Gary Harris. But it's also very tough because I would get that Gary Harris deserves to play. He's a very good player still, but it's just very tough because you built it's such a young team. You do want to have veterans out there. It's very tough. But yeah, I would agree. If fully healthy, it would be Cole, RJ, Ross, or Gary, most likely Terrence for the shooting gravity that he provides, and then Franz and Wendell / Mo, whoever isn't the starter. But at this point, since the team isn't healthy, I would agree. I don't know. I would still say Gary Harris is a starter, Cole, and then you would have Ross, Franz, Mo / Wendell Carter, and then that's really is a toss up because no, Franz would be in the. I said Franz would be in the starting five because it would be Cole. No, Suggs would be the
Suggs.
other. Suggs would be the other guy off the bench.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's just gonna be. It mostly has a tough job. I'm still very excited. I think eventually everyone's gonna get a chance to play because no one always stays healthy.
Mhm. Let's not start off by saying
I mean, Chuma already got a hip bruise.
I was so shocked to hear that. I'm like, bro, when did this happen? Like, at
But
least it's not a big thing. So
yeah, I still expect Chuma to be completely ready for the season opener. But yeah, so that's probably gonna wrap it up. A quick preview of what we're gonna see. We're probably have a lot more to say of these guys after the 4 preseason games. I'm very excited. Any final thoughts?
I would just say I'm looking forward to hopefully a fun and exciting season. I know we got a lot of youngsters, but don't sleep on this team. Like we got like young stars in the making. They want it, and you can tell if you watch their interviews, if you watch like behind the scenes scrimmages and practices and everything, they want it and they're gonna go after it. And Joel Mosley has created this environment where people want to be their best. People want to work hard. They know playing time is not going to be easy. Like to get minutes won't just be given. You heard Suggs talk about, I don't want the starting position if they're just going to give it to me. I want to work for it. So I believe he's going to work for it. And I'm just excited. But can I ask you one thing before
Yeah.
we end off? Besides Markel and JI, who's your potential breakout star?
Hampton. I would probably say RJ Hampton because
Okay.
I think Cole has his because I think we have a pretty good idea of what Cole can be. I think Chuma is gonna be Chuma. I think we've seen not I think we've seen Chuma's skill set, not to say that he's reached the peak of his skill set, but I think we have his skill set, a very good defender, a good shooter, and always pick his spots when to attack, when to pass. He's a very unselfish player. I could say the same things of Franz. I think Franz is always going to do the little things to win. That's why I personally think Franz will be able to contribute immediately because he might not put the greatest stats in the world, but he's always moving without the ball. His older brother said that he's one of the easiest players to play with. Um, and RJ Hampton, RJ Hampton has the speed of John Wall. He just has that potential. He probably has the lowest floor of everyone, but he also has the high ceiling. At least that's what I think. Who would be your potential breakout?
I would say it's between two people. I would say like it literally has to be Mo Bamba, or I'm gonna say Chuma Okiki, one of those two guys. I
Mo.
think Chuma like showed us last year, like we're all like sleeping on how him at his best, how it could raise this team's future, how bright it could be. Like he scored 20 plus multiple times. He became more comfortable with the 3-point shot compared at the beginning of the season. Halfway through the trade deadline, then we really saw his 3-point percentage go up. He took like a bigger role on offense and he excelled. He was efficient. He had a post game. He had everything. Defense, like, and the Mo Bamba, like we're just all rooting for the
Okay,
guy. So.
so you all right? So you're I completely glanced over Mo. I think Mo's definitely gonna surprise a lot of people and prove a lot of people wrong. So I think Mo could definitely be one of those candidates. Just to, especially if he ends up beating out Wendell Carter for that starting spot, I think Mo could definitely break out into his own and be what we drafted at number 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I could definitely see where you're going at with Cole. I think it's just Cole and Chuma. We have their skill set in front of us. And unless Cole becomes, and I really hope Cole is the better defender he says he is, that'll be very exciting. Because Cole has that attitude where I may end up being wrong. Because I still think Cole's gonna be a great player. I just think RJ just has slightly more potential than he does.
Yeah, no, I see that. I see that.
All right. And just like you said, I'm gonna hold this team to this playoff, at least playing expectation that they set for themselves. Very excited. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.